I sold my entire Ethereum position in a blind panic during a market crash. It was a decision that took me less than 5 minutes to make, fueled by a potent cocktail of fear and adrenaline, staring at a blood-red chart late at night. Just 2 weeks later, the market had completely recovered. Then, it kept going up, eventually hitting a new local high. My single, emotional 5-minute decision cost me exactly $2,400 in gains I would have had if I'd simply done nothing, if I had just held on. Today, I'm gonna do something a little uncomfortable. I'm gonna walk you through exactly what happened, why my brain betrayed me into making that classic investing mistake, and most importantly, I'm gonna show you the automated system I built using AI that would have prevented it. It's a system designed to separate my emotional, panicked self from my calm, rational self. Sharing financial mistakes publicly is never easy. There's a voice in your head that screams about ego, about looking foolish or incompetent. It's a deeply personal thing to admit you let your emotions get the better of you, especially when money is involved. But I'm doing it because I know I'm not the only one who has felt that knot in their stomach. And the lesson I learned from this $2,400 mistake is far more valuable to you than my ego is to me. So let's set the scene. The date was early March 2024. The crypto market had been on a steady upward trend, and my Ethereum position, which I had been building for months, was looking healthy. I had a clear thesis. I believed in the long-term value of the Ethereum network, its technological upgrades, and its central role in decentralized finance. My strategy was simple: hold for the long term. Then, the macro environment shifted. An unexpected Federal Reserve announcement regarding inflation sent shockwaves through all risk assets, and crypto took a nosedive. Over the course of 72 hours, Ethereum plummeted by 18%. I checked my portfolio one evening before bed, a classic mistake, and saw the damage. My position had lost $1,800 in value. It felt like watching money evaporate in real time. The number on the screen wasn't just a number, it felt like a direct measure of my failure. And that's when my rational brain switched off, and my primal brain took over. I panicked. This is a textbook example of a cognitive bias called loss aversion. Psychologically, the pain of losing is about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining. My brain wasn't thinking about the potential upside of a recovery. It was screaming at me to stop the pain of the loss, right now. The charts looked absolutely terrifying. All I could see were massive red candles. This triggered another bias. Recency bias. My brain gave all its weight to the most recent information, the 18% drop, and ignored the months of steady gains and the long-term thesis I had built. It felt like the drop would just continue forever. I opened my exchange app, my heart pounding. I didn't consult my notes, I didn't look at historical data. I just saw the red, felt the fear, and hit sell. I sold everything. In that moment, I felt a wave of relief. The bleeding had stopped. But what I'd actually done was lock in the loss. I had turned a temporary, unrealized paper loss into a permanent, real one. So, what actually happened next? Well, the panic in the market subsided. 2 weeks later, Ethereum had recovered completely. The macro news was digested, and the market remembered the fundamental strengths of the asset. 6 weeks later, it was trading at a new high. Had I looked at the data, I would have seen this pattern before. Ethereum has experienced numerous drops of 20–30% throughout its history, almost all of which were followed by a full recovery and new highs. The COVID crash in 2020, the 2021 mid-cycle dip, they all looked terrifying at the time, and they were all incredible buying opportunities in hindsight. My panic was predictable, and so was the recovery. By selling, I made 2 critical errors. I crystallized a temporary loss, and I missed the entire recovery that followed. I was left on the sidelines, watching the price climb back up without me. Let's break down the total damage. There was the $1,800 loss I locked in by selling at the bottom. Then, there was the additional $600 in gains I missed out on as the price shot back up to its new high. That's a $2,400 total cost. The price of one emotional decision made at 11 p.m. while looking at a scary red chart. This experience forced me to create a system to protect myself from myself. Here's what I would have done differently, and what I do now. The first step is setting up an early warning system. I use an app like CoinStats, but you can use any portfolio tracker with customizable alerts. I have a standing alert that triggers anytime my crypto portfolio drops more than 15% in a 72-hour period. This specific threshold is my personal tripwire. It's a significant enough drop to warrant attention, but not so large that panic has already fully set in. When that alert fires, it doesn't just show me the scary red number. Instead, the notification link sends me directly to a pre-written ChatGPT prompt. This is a prompt I wrote for myself when I was calm, logical, and rational. It acts as an objective, unemotional advisor. The prompt forces me to answer a few specific, crucial questions. 1. Has anything fundamentally changed about the long-term value proposition of this asset? This forces me to revisit my original investment thesis. Is the technology broken? Has a key founder left? Or is this just market noise? 2. Is this a macro-driven temporary drop affecting all risk assets? Or a structural failure specific to this project? This provides context. If the entire stock market is down, it's less likely my specific crypto asset is uniquely doomed. 3. What has the historical recovery pattern been for this asset after similar percentage drops in the past? This forces me to zoom out and look at data, not just the terrifying recent price action. And a new one I've added: 4. Does this drop violate my predefined position, sizing rules? This is a critical check to ensure the loss, even if temporary, doesn't represent an irresponsible level of risk to my overall portfolio. If I had used this system back in March, the honest answer to all 3 questions would have been clear. 1. No, nothing fundamental about Ethereum had changed. The developers were still shipping code, the network was still being used. 2. Yes, it was a macro-driven drop affecting everything from tech stocks to crypto. 3. Historically, Ethereum always recovers from these events. The logical conclusion would have been undeniable: hold, or even consider buying more. And if I had followed that logic, I would have $2,400 more in my account today. This isn't about perfectly timing the market. It's about preventing catastrophic emotion-driven errors. It's about building a system for rational decision-making when your brain is telling you to panic. This framework also includes rules I set in advance, like proper position sizing so no single asset can sink my portfolio, and having a plan to dollar-cost average during periods of fear. It's all part of a pre-written checklist I must consult before ever hitting the sell button during a downturn. Of course, this is not financial advice, just a framework that works for me. To make this practical for you, I've put the exact panic prevention AI prompt I now use every single time my portfolio drops significantly in the description below. You can copy it, customize it, and use it to build your own emotional circuit breaker. It's your calm, rational self leaving a message for your future, panicked self. This single habit change, outsourcing my initial panic reaction to a calm, data-driven AI prompt that I control, might be the most valuable and profitable thing I share on this channel. It's not about crypto or stocks, it's about managing human psychology. It's about acknowledging our own weaknesses and building guardrails to protect our long-term goals from our short-term fears. If you found this valuable, subscribe for more lessons learned the hard way, and I want to hear from you in the comments. What's the biggest investing mistake you've ever made, and what did you learn from it? Let's be open about them, because we all have them, and by sharing them, we all get smarter.